This is going to be a game. We're going to be watching the D.va. Now, why are the names like this? This is the streamer mode, just because if people have interesting names at times, the streamer mode can help with that, especially if we still want to watch a replay. So that's why that is. Awcraft was like, yeah, you know what? So we're gonna trust Awcraft on that one, and then here we go. So I'm gonna kind of summarize this game a little bit without reading the story. I'll read the story that they have here, and I'm really curious because this has been a discussion in Overwatch. I really want to see. So here's the story on this one. I feel like everything comes down to good old counterwatch. So right away, Absolute Quality over here is saying that everything comes down to counterwatch. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no. It's not the way that you're playing. It's counterwatch. I feel like I did a good job here, but constantly getting tank countered by the other tank is frustrating. That can be true. I think I just need some pointers on when to switch and probably my positioning. All right, chat. Let's go find out. Let's see how this goes. I'm curious. Ready. Starting on D.va. First point Nabani. You know what I like about this? D.va on first point Nabani is my favorite time to play D.va. Other tank is playing Junker Queen. Automatically, Queen has a good matchup against D.va, but you have the map matchup. You go, what's the map matchup? D.va's good on this map. Dark Queen's good, but if you play correctly, right? If you play correctly here, you won't have to worry about that. Now, what's the problem already? Let's talk about this because you said this is all about counter swapping. What is the issue already here? All right, let's talk about this for a second because you said that counter swapping is the issue and that you constantly have to counter swap. What is the issue right now? You hear me talk about it. You're playing D.va like you would play Reinhardt. Junker Queen gets value from close range play. You see this axe right here? This axe doesn't go all the way up here. If it did, I wouldn't complain because that'd be fun. All right? You are trying to play D.va like you're playing Junker Queen or Reinhardt right now. So already, from a counter-swapping point of view, a little bit too aggressive, right? Now, don't get me wrong. You might watch me play D.va and I'll play aggressive against Junker Queen. Is it the right play? Probably not. Why am I doing it? I don't know. But if we're talking about counter-swapping, that's why. Here we go. You have a Sombra, so you gotta be careful of that now, because you're on low ground. High ground. High ground. High ground. Okay, you flew into the Junker Queen here. What happens if you fly into the Junker Queen? This is what happens. Why is that not the correct play? Because their whole team has a bunch of damage against you, which if you're already going, oh, I have to counter swap now, then automatically playing D.va on first point, especially when that team did nothing to try to take the high ground outside of a Sombra, is already pointing out to the idea that counter swapping here in this specific situation is not the issue. Doesn't mean you don't have to counter swap, and counter swapping isn't an issue sometimes, but in that situation, you play the high ground, you play around the map, and you keep that high ground. All right, anyway. Now going Queen here, is that the correct play? Yeah, that's fine. Queen's good here. Because if you're going to play like Junker Queen there on that first point, then why not go Junker Queen? That's fine. I want you to do something, if you can try it, okay? When you're playing Junker Queen, all right? When you're playing Junker Queen, and Junker Queen ults in, a play that can be really good is pulling the Junker Queen mid-charge to completely give them no value on their ult. I saw that you kind of just stood there and looked at him and was like, hey, how's your day going? You know what? Honestly, that was a nice ultimate. If you try to pull them back and then get away from them at that point, you can actually, like, basically disrupt that ultimate and get value, all right? Now, by the way, I want to point out, we just talked about how on D.va you try to play D.va's Junker Queen. I think you're playing Junker Queen just fine right now, just so you know. All right? This is good. Playing close. You understand your value comes from your Carnage. That was a good Carnage. That was a good play. See the difference there? So, like, every tank requires almost a different play style, right? And now you're playing like you would play Queen. Good start. Okay, much better. Much better, all right? You said they're jumping a ton? Have you seen me play Overwatch? People all the time come in the chat, why do you jump so much? And I just go, it's fun. I just like hit my buttons. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just like hitting my buttons. I have this like thing where I feel like I have to do something. Like I have to feel like I'm doing something like at all times when I'm playing Overwatch, so I just jump. Is it the correct play? No. Does it make it easier for Widows to headshot me? Yes. Do I still jump a lot? Yes. All right, let's go. Mei is getting buffed? I don't even see. The thing is like, we're talking about Mei buffs. I don't know. Because if Mei's damage goes from 110 to 55, and you're relying more on your teammates to follow up on your damage as Mei, is Mei buffed? The question is, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be less about holding left click and being more accurate with your right clicks and requiring more team follow-up. So, don't get me wrong, as a tank player playing against a lot of CC and playing against Mei, I'm going, wow, I cannot wait for that. Because guess what? Who is Mei going to go for when they can free somebody the whole time? Oh, yeah, the tank. It's going to be the tank. Who plays tank? I play tank. So I already know that's not going to be fun to play against. But does that make Mei buffed? I don't know because I haven't seen how Mei plays yet to be able to give you a definitive answer on any of that. I just don't. I have no way to give you a definitive answer because I don't know how Mei's going to play. Will Mei be fun to play against as a tank? Oh, I bet. Good pull there. Good job. Yeah, I can see. Okay, I can see why you're getting frustrated on this part because, okay, chat. So let me know if you do this in Overwatch. All right, and it depends on like what heroes you play. All right, you let me know if this happens in your games or your games. You go. You know what? I haven't played this hero in a while. They're playing that hero. Oh, my camera's gonna be unplugged, by the way. You want to know why? Sully decided that the camera was in his way when he wanted to lay on top of the PC. So instead, we get this. So, I remember where we left off, which is the surprise in this one. All right, so, tell me if you ever had these in your games, all right? Where basically, someone will play a hero that you haven't played in a while. Or you want to play the hero, but you can't play that hero frequently. Let's say the other hero is on Soldier 76, all right? And then you go, you know what? I haven't played Soldier 76 in a while. So let's go play Soldier 76. You switch to Soldier 76, you're like, you know what? This is going to be fun. I get to play Soldier, they get to play Soldier. You have a good time. Then they switch off of Soldier 76. They go Widow. And you're like, what? So what you did this game is you saw that they had a Junker Queen after you had an interesting start on D.va. Switched to Junker Queen, and then they switched to Orisa after you go Queen to mirror the Queen. That happens in rank so much, it feels like, where you go to play a hero that you want to play because the other team is playing the hero, and then the person playing that hero swaps off to the other hero. I'm fine with that ultimate. I mean, obviously, like, you didn't get anyway with that Orisa, but you can obviously wait a little bit on the cooldown. Yeah, I can tell you're going to swap Zarya. We're going to play position in here. Also, remember, when you're hacked, they can see you. Uh-oh. 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 Tough. So, from a matchup point of view, I like the matchup for you. I like the matchup for you. Because your team doesn't have a cleanse. And I've been doing this even more now in rank 2. If they don't have a cleanse, I sometimes, if we don't have a cleanse and we're going against Queen, sometimes they'll go Zarya because I can't. They're going to get so many good ultimates. Alright, here we go. By the way, I do that too sometimes. Do your absolute best to just not try to left-click the Sombra there. You won't do enough initial damage on that Sombra unless you have, like, that was a good sleep, and if you just wait a second, your team probably gets the elim. And what's the problem there? I can tell you what's going to happen right now. Okay, there you go. What was the problem with the play you just made? You didn't have a bubble available. So sometimes it's okay to keep that energy you have and play a little bit closer to the walls there. You can still go for the damage, but if you run in the middle of the open and you don't have bubbles, that's what happens. All right, there you go. Yep. This Echo is, you're going for the Echo the whole time. Now you can be aggro. Now you can be aggro. Good job. Okay, so if I'm Jungler Queen there, I'm gonna stay on Jungler Queen, but what tank am I gonna switch to? I have a feeling that tank, if they are truly counter swap in this game, is gonna use Queen ult. If it doesn't get any result, gonna go Winston. Alright. Yep. Still have one bubble. Be careful of your positioning. That Queen got literally nobody. I respect that play. Team fight was lost. That Queen was resetting. I see that you like to go for the Echo a lot. Okay, here we go. Will there be a hero swap from Jungler Queen? Or will Jungler Queen be the hero being played? Okay, no hero swap. So, we talked a little bit about the counter swap, and at this point, you have become the counter swapper. Think about that. This Queen is like, you know what? I'm going to stay on Queen here. My take on counter swapping on tank is because it's 5v5 and there's only one tank, you're gonna see counter swapping happen more frequently no matter what, because there's only one hero you have to worry about necessarily going against in that matchup. So counter swapping becomes a little bit easier and can happen more often because, like, or like hero pool wise, it can make a bit more sense. Like if you're going up against a good Widow on DPS and you can't play Widow, you're probably not gonna counter swap the Widow because you just get it rolling, right? This has been interesting because, like, your position has been fine, I think. Good bubble. Remember your position and your bubbles you have. Oh, that was a good nano. That's what happened again. You can grab that, 100%. Good grab. Good grab. Okay. So I just want to confirm something here. Okay, I need to stop for a second. So, you mentioned that the other tank counter swaps, all right? A lot. Or, well, not a lot, but you know what I mean. All right. You are currently on Zarya. Now, I'm going to go fly over to the other tank and see what they're playing. Now, you tell me, is this a counter swap? I don't think this is a counter swap. You went D.va to eat the grav? I don't think that's what was happening, but you could be right. So what I'm seeing so far, by the way, I will do this sometimes too when I'll wake up somebody with 100 charge, but be careful of waking somebody up nanoed when you don't have a bubble. I'm not saying it's not going to go well for you. Obviously it did, but sometimes you can be a bit careful on that. All right? Remember, you don't have a bubble right now. That's a good bubble to get rid of the anti. Okay, there we go. Pushing the cart. Remember, there's a Moira behind you. Good trade. And they stayed on D.va. Now, are you staying on Zarya? I imagine you are. If the matchup for you right now is D.va against your Zarya, you're going to be playing Zarya. You can't even tell if you bubbled yourself. If you meant to bubble, you're on it. That was a good play. Wait. You have an opportunity here. So now, one thing you can do is, I would recommend not constantly trying to 1v1 the Echo. And the reason being is that, don't get me wrong, if the Echo flies into you, that's fine. But what you're doing is you're giving value to other heroes right now on their team. For example, D.va. By focusing on an Echo when they're out of range to begin with. And don't get me wrong, if the Echo gets into range, absolutely go for the Echo. Which, I mean, Echo did fly into range, to be fair, at some point there. But what I'm trying to say is basically, you have timings where, like, now's the Echo, right? That is the perfect time to get the Echo. But if the Echo's out of range, until that Echo comes out of the ground, you're not doing anything to begin with, right? Good play. Good job. You see how that worked there? You didn't. I don't know if you necessarily were like, I'm gonna wait for the echo to go there, but you did, and it worked. And look at that. And man, this other tank has been counter swapped. The other tank's on queen. So what started as you mentioning counter swapping has become you have essentially got to stay on Zarya. Your Junkrat just got rolled, and they're on queen. Now the queen versus Zarya matchup is very interesting because I don't think the damage output will quite be there. What in the world is that I don't think the damage will quite be there for me compared to the Zarya damage, but it means sustainability and survivability can actually still be a little bit better depending on what happens. Now obviously your team's getting rolled by a Mei, and they kind of in their cost. The Mei swap is just fun. I will say that. The Mei swap is, even though you can bubble off a lot of that, what's going to happen is you're going to get isolated in 1v1. Be careful of bubbles, remember, that Mei saved you. I just want to point it out, that Mei just saved you. You have 6 HP. Okay, so one thing I want you to focus on a little bit too when you're playing Zarya is when you use a bubble, think about where you're at. Can you go anywhere if your bubble's in 2 seconds? Do you have time to get to a spot to hide? If your bubble's in 8 seconds, what can you do at that point? Point being, remember that. Real talk, position, are you working on a little bit more when you're playing Zarya especially? I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot. See ya. You have to just pay attention to those bubbles. Playing a bit close here for where I would want to see. Okay, that's fine. Switch to Zarya now because you're on queen? Nope. Yes, Orisa. Okay. If your question, though, back to the counter swap and discussion, is this a counter swap? Probably. I think Orisa feels more comfortable in the Orisa versus Junker Queen matchup than the Junker Queen versus Junker Queen matchup, and generally will play less Junker Queen if the Junker Queen mirrors. It's almost like, you know what it is? And I have this too when I play tank. You almost have like this rotation as a tank. That if you rotate correctly through your hero rotations, you'll end up on a hero you want to be on. Does that make sense? So, like, say I start on Queen, but they run Winston, and I can't counter the Winston, I go D.va. And then if I go D.va, and then they switch to D.va, I'm on D.va, right? And then, so I'm like, okay, I like this matchup, but then if they go Orisa, you can then go Zarya, and then now you are in heroes you want to play, and they have to counter swap back onto Winston, which puts you back on D.va. But it doesn't happen every game. Some games you'll go no counter swap and you play one hero. Other games you have, you know, someone who is hitting tab the whole time. They're like, okay, well, oh, I'm switching. I need you, Gracie. Do you want my take on this part right here, though? This right here had nothing to do with the counter swap. So, did the tank counter swap you? Yes. Did you lose this game because of counter swapping right here at this part? No. Because look what happened. You pushed all the way up here, and you had to rotate into a position where, like, you allowed Orisa to have all that space to be able to get to the point, and then at that point, there's nothing you can do at that point, right? So, is it, because counter swapping a thing as a tank? Yeah. Can you lose to a counter swap? Probably, if you don't make the correct switches. Is counter swapping the direct reason as to why you're losing these games? I don't think so. And I really do believe that if you're able to look at your position and a little bit more and where you're playing on maps, and understanding that sometimes it's okay to wait 3 seconds on Zarya, even if you have 80 energy to push up because that one bubble can help you survive and absolutely roll the team. You start doing that, even with the counter swap, and I still think you're going to do fine. Because you said you felt like you played well. And honestly, mechanically, it wasn't too bad. Honestly. But you got to think about your positioning. And you start doing that more, and you start thinking about everything else, I think you're going to be in a good spot with that. And you won't even have to worry about the counter swapping as much because it's going to happen when you're tank. Counter swapping happens because there's only one other tank. So even like sometimes you might even accidentally get counter swapped. So anyway, that's my take on that. So it's kind of like an answer to your initial question. Is counter swapping a thing on tanks? Yes. Are you losing this because of counter swapping? I don't think so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Chat, do you see that counter swapping happens a lot in your games too? YouTube comments right there. You like that one? Also, we record these live, so if you want to watch it, make sure to come by the stream. All that. Follow the channel. Stream quite a bit, and we record quite a bit of videos. So if you want to watch them live, definitely worth it. Sub to the YouTubes, all three of them. If you haven't, hit the like button. Hope you all have an amazing day/night.